Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Have we made any connection with Newcastle Temple? Or, pardon?
Newcastle is coming in 2 minutes.
Newcastle's coming in 2 minutes. Well, Gauridas Pandit Prabhu's online. Gauridas, can I see you?
Gauridas is just coming in, as is Keshavananda.
Who's there?
Keshavananda is also sitting in on the yajna.
Wow, Keshava, Haribol. Haribol, Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, nice to see you.
So glorious to Prabhupada.
Oh, glorious to
Thank
see you,
you so much
Prabhupada.
for being with us. I'm just going to change. I don't know if I can change. Let me see. I think I can. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Now I can see who's with us. That's better. Great. And we have with us today, Madhurika. Where are you from, Madhurika? Can you unmute Madhurika? I've spoken to everyone else. I don't know, but just Madhurika has joined us. Who is Madhurika?
Madhurika is...
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribo, Madhurika.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I'm based in between London and Kent.
Between London and Kent. There's not much between London and Kent.
Borderline London.
Borderline London. Okay. Well, I hope are you related to
I was based in Newcastle for a few years whilst I was studying. I think I met you a few years ago also.
Okay, well, wonderful. I think I thought I kind of recognized.
She was called Milan previously.
Milan.
Milan, yeah.
There we go. I knew I'd seen you in Italy somewhere.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Madhurika. So nice. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I've already spoken with Bishwa, Leelanath, and Shashwant and Turid. So it's great to see the friends and family members there online, some of you, and some of you I see are sitting there in the Newcastle Temple.
So
I'm going to try to put you bigger. I want to get your picture bigger. Can I get the picture of Gauridas Pandit ISKCON Newcastle bigger? Please, can you show me that one, Rohini, so I can see the devotees in Newcastle?
no way we can move the camera so Maharaj can see.
No, there's a way of making that the main screen on my computer. I don't know how to do it.
Host.
How do I do that?
Is it okay now, Maharaj?
No, I can only see the massive screen with everyone's picture, and I can't make anyone out except for Chaitanya and Gauridas.
On my side, I can see yours and
I can see
yes,
everybody, but I want just only to see Newcastle, nobody else.
this you have to do on your own screen, Maharaj.
I don't know how to do it, so I won't be able to do it because I don't know the science. Let me see. Hide self-view, hide non-video, remove all spotlights. Gallery speaker, I'm the speaker. I've seen you bigger now, but I'm not seeing you fully. No, that didn't work. Already been there. I've done that. There we are, he's got it. So, please, I see what I've been praying for. Hare Krishna, Chaitanya Balaba Prabhu. Hare Krishna, and I see Jagannath is there. Hare Krishna, Jagannath. I'm so happy to see you. Hare Das. Hare Das.
Say Hari
Oh,
Bol.
Hare Das. Jai, Hare Bol. Is that Vrinda there?
Yes, I'm here.
Vrinda,
Sorry,
Hare
boss.
Krishna. How
Hare
kind
Krishna,
of you.
Maharaj.
So nice to see you there today. And I can see Vishnu Priya, I think, Hare Bol. And I can't say I can see Prema. I can see Prema. Hare Krishna Prema. Great to see you. And I can't see, who's this? Who is it?
Vasu. Vasu Shresha.
Who? Vasu.
Vasu.
Vasu. Hare
Vasu.
Krishna, Vasu. The screen is clear, but not that clear. And who else is there?
Yeah,
Yada.
Hey, Haribol. I can see Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada. And the other way, who have we got? Who's there? Chaitanya. Who's that? Behind the I can't make out the other faces.
Sharadya Rasa.
Gaudi. Haribol Sharada. Hare Krishna. All glorious. I'm so happy that we're together. It makes a lot to my heart. Thank you so much. And who else is there?
We have
I
Fuji.
can see, I think it's Bass. I think I can make out Bass.
It's
Is that Bass? Here he is, our Bass.
back there, and our friends from Halifax, Bradford.
Halifax.
Namaste. We have
Hare Krishna from Halifax. Jai. Hare Krishna. Wonderful.
Praise.
And of course, Durga's there. Is Durga there?
And that's Fuji. Fuji with the beard, Maharaj.
Fuji, that's not you. I can't believe it. Oh, wow. You've grown up a little bit. Hare Krishna. Uji. Where's Kiran? He's on his way. We're all on our way somewhere or another. Great to see you all. And I can see Keshava now. I can see Gauridas now. Wonderful. And anyone else who's there, thank you for giving us your association. Wonderful.
Pratik is behind the computer working the buttons.
Who's there? Oh, Hari Paul. Wow, wonderful.
He's at
Wonderful.
the
Where's
control
Satya
tower.
Mehta? He's not there? Where's Satya? Panchatattva there, we know that. There they are, the most merciful. So please shower your blessings on all the devotees. Please bless us all that our hearts become pure and loving and soft and kind.
Kieran has arrived.
Kieran, where's Kieran? Where is he? Has he got a beard as well? Where's your beard? Where's your beard? Don't get ideas now, okay? No ideas, all right? What to do. Good to see you guys. Thank you all for coming. Where's Satya Mehta? Is not there?
Not yet, not yet.
On his
He's on
way.
his way, apparently.
And Bhakti is in Finland, is he?
Yeah, I think Kirtidar's mum is
I heard something like that, yeah.
Kirtidar's mum is not
In
well.
critical state, I heard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope we're all going to be there soon in heart and helping each other to make loving steps towards our ultimate goal. So you please tell me what you'd like me to do.
So I'm just about to finish setting up here, but I thought it might be nice if first you can speak something, about the importance and significance of second initiation, and then we'll do the yogya afterwards. Maybe you'd like to begin with a little kirtan. What do you think?
Give a time frame, because you know everybody there and everybody's got lives to live. So give me a time frame.
Did we have an idea of time frame?
The idea was finishing by 12 or something like that. That we started later.
Yeah, try and finish. We were trying to finish by about 12, which obviously we're a little bit 20 minutes later than we thought. So something.
Yeah, I was on time. I was here talking to all your guests and friends for 15 minutes.
No, well, I wasn't blaming you.
Hare Krishna.
So something like that.
Every 15 minutes is one Bhagavad Gita. So
yeah, that's right. Actually, one thing you can do, Maharaj, I've made some packs of books together for anyone who would like to buy a pack of books to distribute to friends and family relatives. So at some point, maybe you can just share the significance of, why everyone should take some books and distribute them.
Sure. Do I get the book points?
We'll go half and half, okay?
Yeah, I'm sacrificing my Sunday for other more important services like this one. We've been going out on book distribution. I was actually on the street 8 hours non-stop the other day.
Wow. It
was really ecstatic. I was on my own half the time, just with a book table and chanting Hare Krishna and talking to people. It was so blissful. All problems didn't exist, it was so nice when we engage in chanting together. It was such a nice experience. And every day this week we've gone out trying to chant and distribute books. It's such a nice experience, even though I can't speak French much and I can't distribute many books, but just being in this yogya, this Sankirtan yogya really is the solution, as Lord Chaitanya says. There's no other way. Coming together and chanting and dancing together is amazing how it changes our whole perspective in our hearts. Anyway, let's get back to Newcastle and the program today. Hare Krishna. Well, it's my privilege to be with you, and I thank you all for coming. And we hope that this will be a very festive occasion, a joyful occasion, an occasion of spiritual upliftment. So we'll do a little kirtan to start with, as you've already requested, and a little talk, and then we'll mention something about the significance of not just initiation, but what it entails. And definitely a big part of that is this sharing of Krishna consciousness with others. No matter what else is going on, we try to continue to share Krishna consciousness. And the most practical way, practically speaking, is to share the books of our acharyas coming through Srila Prabhupada, to share those with others. So we'll begin. Is it cold there in Newcastle? It probably is. I didn't hear you, but it probably is. You have to unmute him there.
You can say that. It's been snowing.
Great. We were looking forward. Huh?
It's been snowing. That was my attempt at French. Il neige.
Oh, okay. I see what you were talking about. Wonderful. Yeah, snowing. Well, we haven't had snow here, but it's below freezing. So it's also cold in Paris. Good. So please do join us in the kirtan, whether you're online or offline or whatever line you're on. Let's all get together on the same line of kirtan. Okay, Shiva, are you okay? This is your yogya, your second or first initiation?
For the second.
Second, great, wonderful. We did a kirtan before for those who are online, and we'll do a little one again, but I'm not going to chant everything this time. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Pancha Tattva ki Jai, ISKCON Newcastle Yatra ki Jai, Gauda Premanandi, Harinama Sankirtan ki Jai, Brihat Madanga ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Marathon ki Jai. All glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glorious to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastachare Shatarine. Jai Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuralmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upagadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lita Shri Vishakaritamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Dinabando Jagatpate. Gopesha Gopika Kanta. Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Rishabhanu Sute Devi. Pranamami Hare Priye. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha. Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Come on, lazy fellows, put your hands up. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada. Panchakalpatu. Did we do that? We did that already. Okay. No mind. Do it again and again. Always offer our obeisances to everyone. Hare Krishna. Wow. There you are, gathered in front of Panchatattva, in front of the vegetables and the fruits. The main thing I'm seeing on the camera are the vegetables and the fruits. And the yoga hasn't done yet. But you can send us the broccoli after the yoga if you want. We could do some broccoli over here. Eating khichdi every day. Khichdi and porridge. Hare Krishna. Okay. Well, on this very special occasion, where Gauridas Pandit Prabhu, known to many of you as Ganesh Tapa, and his his family, of course, are known to all of you in different ways. And of course, Keshava also is sitting in today, Keshavananda Prabhu, on this yogya sacrifice. It's a ceremony to impress upon our hearts. In the case of today's ceremony, of course, it's related to the acceptance of particular vows in life, a particular responsibility in life. Throughout our life, we have many different stages. I don't know about yourselves, but I remember when I was a young child, I got baptized in a church somewhere. And we had christening ceremony in Christianity, with a christening ceremony, I think something to do with baptism also. You get christened. And a name, you're given a name of something, I don't know. Different things. In the Western world, we don't have so many of these various events, but in Asia, there are more, especially in India. There are so many, what they call different samskaras throughout our lives, different impressions for the living entity, for the soul, to help that soul to progress and to be responsible in their lives. And we have in England, we have marriage ceremonies, of course. Obviously, we have funerals, that's another thing. But we have marriages, and also they have engagements sometimes, some ceremonies there. And they do have they're meant to have some impression on our heart of responsibility and what that responsibility entails. But in Vedic or ancient culture, which was more prominent throughout the world in days of yore, in Vedic society, there are many different ceremonies or events throughout our life meant to help us progress towards the goal of life. The more materialistic society becomes, the less of these, let's say, events take place. Even marriage now has become very much diminished. People don't even get married in the traditional way. Now they go to a registry office, they have a contract marriage, or they don't get married at all. There are varieties of marriages now being introduced as well. Things have become more and more degraded in society, and consequently, people are getting further and further away from the goal of life, which most people consider materialistic. The ultimate goal of life is said to be in the scriptures Krishna Pramartamaham, which means to awaken within our heart's love for God. Doesn't matter what you call it, but it's to awaken love of God in our hearts. But that is more or less, maybe some people, of course, have still got that intention and work towards it, but as a general rule of education and society, that is not impressed. It's not made very prominent, for sure, in society. To love God is just that's some kind of imagination or some kind of crutch that people who can't make it in life resort to, or it's simply some kind of myth or something or another, some religious dogma. It's outdated. It's we've passed beyond. Had one man on Sankirtan saying that yesterday. All this old stuff is out of date. We don't need all this old stuff anymore. Science has got all the answers. Of course, we know it doesn't have all the answers, but he was quite convinced of his opinion. Some people think it's outdated. We've risen above all this childlike stuff. But we see the result of that type of philosophy, what chaos, what unpleasant experiences we're going through, anxiety and stress, and misunderstandings and fighting, and so much unpleasantries. So whatever, it's not a solution. So the ageless understanding, timeless understanding of the ultimate objective of human form of life is said to be not Karmendriyani Samyamya. No, how's that verse go? No. Bhagavatam slipped my mind. Anyway, it means that life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should live this human life specifically for trying to realize our spiritual nature and our relationship with God. This is the higher purpose, and human life is really meant for that purpose. It's not meant to be like animals, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and building all kinds of facilities in that regards. It's meant for spiritual awakening. Omatata Brahma Jignas, meant for inquiry into the nature of the absolute truth, not the relative. All of our energy is based on inquiry into the relative. That means material truths. Space travel, studying the rocks, studying the DNA, studying this, studying that. It's all material. And it's just playing around in the toy shop, basically speaking, like children playing around with the various items at their disposal without really understanding what's behind it all. Well, human life is a facility, at least. Human life is a very unique facility to cross over this, it's said, ocean of material existence and come to our deeper understanding of ourselves and a deeper understanding of life. All problems are solved the closer we get to that, actually. There's no more duality or duplicity between people. And one will not be disturbed by the consequences of the material world, the inevitable duality, the inevitable happiness and distress, the inevitable beginning and an end to everything. One can rise above that, but that requires a process. There's a process to awaken our spiritual lives or our spiritual knowledge or our spiritual understanding. And this ceremony today is a part of that. It's not that everyone's going to go through this in this lifetime at least, but it's a very important part. So in Vedic culture, all the various ceremonies and samskaras or various kinds of ceremonies that took place at different stages of a living entity's life, in human life, it only takes place in human life. Nothing is there for the animals in this regards. But for human beings, even conception, there is a special type of ceremony that takes place, or performance of various activities to try to ensure the birth of a let's say, a very well-behaved individual, or and so on and so forth, to attract the attention of a good soul, so to speak. And it goes through the pregnancy, through childbirth. It's a very big thing. In Vedic culture, childbirth, all kinds of purificatory rites are undergone to give the child, to give the living entity the greatest chance in a human form of life for spiritual advancement, as well as material stability, etc. And then the first time the child maybe takes some grains, the Annaprasana ceremony, that's another ceremony which takes place. It's considered a big thing when the child starts eating grains, which are considered to be like solid food. And then the hair cutting ceremony, and then the ceremony for ascertaining the proclivities of a child in terms of their future occupation. It's all seen when the child is young, and certain ceremonies accordingly are held. And then the first time the child writes, there's a ceremony there when the child goes to school. And if the child happens to be in a certain families, then they may receive the Brahmin thread at a certain point of time, which is representing the spiritual side of life, you could say, for a child. And then they chant certain mantras like this, one step after another, and then they have their family guru. Within a lot of particular families have their particular teachers or spiritual masters or priests like that, who and they make a relationship there. All of this is step by step to help us to progress ultimately to the ultimate goal of human life, and to develop good qualities, and help us to control our senses and not be like an animal or licentious or something, and help us not to become depressants or to become, stressed out, etc. in our lives. So then we come to the connection between the material responsibilities and the spiritual goals. So then there are different types of samskaras for spiritual advancement. So they're all connected to the material ones as well. And there are many others. We've just briefed a few of them. And then on the spiritual side, which again is the necessary connection to go to the platform of realization or achieve the goal of human life, it's required then that the person, the soul, undergoes some spiritual reformation, you could say. And that normally begins with initiation, or it doesn't begin with initiation, but the official beginning is there. This is a continual process. It's not something that necessarily we can say begins here or there, but it's a continuation of gradually coming to that level. So if in a cultured human society, there's one which has God consciousness as an objective goal, then initiation in the spiritual line, not just in the family line or in society line, or according to one's occupation line, but rather on the spiritual line. So that's something which then connects us with the supreme line, which is called the parampara, the line of disciplic succession, through which the instructions of the Supreme Lord, the guidance of the Supreme Lord, are passed down from one teacher to the next to the present day. So then that line comes down to today, and we're mostly in this age when the other forms of purification are very rare. There's not a structural society to facilitate the gradual progress of people towards the spiritual platform. It doesn't exist hardly anywhere in the world today. So the other types of purificatory rites are very few and far between, and they're not so effective either because of the lack of qualified priests to arrange these things and to perform these various ceremonies, etc., are lacking in this day and age. So the general sacrifice, or let's say ceremony, yajna, sacrifice means yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. In this age, is recommended that in this age of Kali, which we're in, yajna sankirtanam, the chanting of the holy names, accomplishes all the purposes of other effects. That doesn't mean to say we shouldn't take other things seriously as well, but we can't expect the same result as was perhaps previously there. We're in a society which is quite godless in many ways, very materialistic, and very confusing. Anyway, it's just very hard age. Kali Yuga is a very difficult age. It's Kaledoshanade Raja Nastiyaka Mahangura. It's an age full of faults, And the only good thing about this age is the chanting of the holy names, which anyone can do, whether we're whatever, it doesn't make any difference. What our material qualification is doesn't depend. The chanting of the holy name does not depend upon that at all. It's just a matter of receiving from the right source and taking what we receive. And the chanting of the holy name is so purifying to one and all. So, but nonetheless, to assist us on our spiritual path, there is an official ceremony also, even for, they say, the reception of the holy name, although it doesn't demand it or require it, there is. And what that does is it makes us it enhances and strengthens our connection both to the activity of chanting and to the line of disciplic succession through which the pure sound vibration is descending from Krishna himself into our lives. So that samskara, that impression of the ceremony, of the vows that we make, it has a strong, or at least it gives us to have the opportunity to strengthen our resolve. It gives us a strong impression in our hearts. You know, it's like when you get married in a church, and not everyone takes it seriously, but many people do, and they feel, well, we got married in church and we said to death we do part, so we can't separate. Nowadays, people do separate, but they didn't previously. Even in England, it was a very rare. Divorce was extremely rare. It was like unheard of practically. Now it's very common. But that means either people aren't good doing this ceremony, or they're not taking it seriously. They don't care less about their own words, their own vows, etc. So similarly in the spiritual line, there are certain vows. The vows are perhaps a little different. They do involve interaction with the material, but they're primarily vows to cultivate our devotional service towards the Supreme Lord. And whatever else that involves numerous things. Maintaining one's family is also inclusive in that. Maintaining means also occupation-wise. It also means, you know, various practices in our lives also involve maintaining our health. So it does incorporate or it includes necessary material functions. It's not like one goes to the Himalayas and detaches oneself. No, it's practicing within our life the path of self-realization or Krishna consciousness. So the first initiation, we call it the first initiation. You could say Nam Diksha. Diksha means in plain terms, it doesn't really mean that, but in plain terms, it means initiation. Nam means into the chanting of the holy name. There's a ceremony, although devotees are already chanting. Anyone can chant, by the way. There are no hard and fast rules in chanting the holy name of Krishna. Anyone can chant. Even a dog, if it can chant. Everyone can chant. It doesn't matter. And any name of God, it's not just Krishna. It can be other names of God too, according to one's situation. But anyone can participate in that. That's their choice. But if we really want to attain the goal, then the process of this official initiation is required. Taking shelter or making connection, even in Christianity. Of course, those who are from Indian backgrounds know only too well. But those from Christian backgrounds or whatever Western backgrounds may be aware that even Jesus Christ displayed this. In one sense, he took baptism from John the Baptist, who, of course, John the Baptist was thinking, "You're actually my Lord. Who am I?" The understanding is that Jesus is saying, this is the process. You have to take this step. Not quite so official. It's not quite so perhaps personal as the Vedic system, but the principle is still there. It may not be so committal either. The importance of taking direction from a spiritual master and making that link is an absolute necessity in Vedic culture. And so that's made, or that starts made. It's also connection is made at first initiation, Nam Diksha. Today, there's another kind of samskara, another type of impression in the heart. Today is mantra diksha, when, of course, Janananda's already taken that vow, but he's sitting in on the solidifying process of Agni Hotra today, the fire yajna, whereby he makes that stronger and committal to chant various mantras and take on a little responsibility more than before in his spiritual life. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But basically speaking, this is another impression in our lives. It's not an absolute necessity. Our acharyas have made that clear. It's not an absolute necessity. The mantra diksha is specifically a Vedic ceremony, and this is where perhaps when people say, oh, this is from the past to some degree, are not completely unjustified. Because in Kali Yuga, it's the chanting of the holy name, which is the means by where one becomes purified and eligible to attain a self-realization or God consciousness. Go back to Godhead, as we say. But nonetheless, to assist in that path, that goal, the acceptance of let's say, the responsibility of mantra diksha, second initiation, is also very, very, very important and very valuable. But if it has to be accompanied, we could say, with what they say, adhikar, with eligibility, not just time, desire, circumstance. No, it has to be something in the heart. The heart is becoming softened, that the heart is becoming purified, that the heart is becoming seriously responsible in one's spiritual life. Those were more the things which Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, would emphasize, not just because we're good at doing things which normally those who are known as Brahmins, second initiated in Krishna consciousness, that is, do, like cook on the altar, worship on the altar, or cook for we call deities, the Lord in his deity form, or various sacrifices or ceremonies like today's ceremony performed by Chaitanya Ballabha Prabhu. That may be what they do, but if we read in the Bhagavad Gita, we see that that's not the qualification of a Brahmin. Nowhere do we see in any of the descriptions of a Brahmin is one who, maybe a little bit of indication, someone performs sacrifices, fire sacrifices, one who chants various Vedic mantras, one who offers arti, one who cooks for the deity. We don't find that anywhere, practically speaking. Maybe some description of action, but not in terms of qualification. For other persons who are engaged in other things, we see more the activity is emphasized. But for those who are in the Brahminical order, second initiated, it's more the qualities of tolerance and truthfulness and mercy and cleanliness, learnedness, being learned, self-control, peaceful. These are more the qualities of a Brahmin. And they should be. We can't expect that we're going to be able to replicate perhaps the behavior of Brahmins in previous ages, but we should at least be aware of this and try to cultivate these natural qualities by which the Brahmins work. It's more the qualities by which they work, not so much what the work is, the quality of the character. So this is to help us to develop more and more qualities. The qualities of a Brahmin are also inclusive in the qualities of a purified soul. They're also naturally possessed in the character of a pure soul. I'm just going to read one verse now from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's a famous verse, and we've many times discussed it at initiation. Excuse the refreshment break there. I'm just taking not exactly breakfast, I'm just taking a cup of milk. We've been on the go this morning and a little bit of recharge. So this is a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's in the chapter 15 of the Madhya Lila, where is a chapter entitled Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna in his form of a devotee, accepts prasadam at the house of one of his devotees named Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And in this chapter, there's some very interesting verses. Now we're going to read one of them. And amazing enough, it's number 108, very auspicious number. Madhya Lila 15, chapter, text 108. Some of you want to follow it online or there in the temple. I don't know if you put it on the screen. I don't know how it works. Text 108. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Diksha Puraschaya Vidya Pekshana Kare. Jiva Sparshaya Chandala Savari Udare. So this verse, one does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips. Thus, even a man in the lowest class, Chandala, that means one who literally eats dogs, even a man in the lowest class can be delivered. And it's interesting to note, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, is quoting from many great acharyas of spiritual teachers of the past, various statements in this regard, and many times it seems somewhat contradictory to this statement of the verse. A little confusing to understand sometimes. Is it necessary to take initiation or is it not necessary to take initiation? Both points are being made. And this can be understood a little bit in the light of the fact that the Yuga Dharma, that means the spiritual or religious practice of this age which is most effective, is chanting the holy name. And that is open to everyone. And for that, there's no need to undergo initiation. That was the mood previously in Lord Chaitanya's time. There was no initiation as such. Brahminical initiation, which is really speaking, is what is referring to here, that you do not have to undergo initiation. Traditionally, initiation means second initiation. There's no such thing of first initiation as such. It means Brahminical initiation. Diksha mantra is second initiation, and that's the real meaning of you could say, the external meaning of this. That you don't need to be second initiated to go back to Godhead. You don't need to be second initiated to chant the holy name purely. However, we see so much emphasis in the purport there about the necessity. In other words, the necessary characteristics or qualities should be manifesting. Whether one accepts second or not is another thing. And in order to facilitate our future or further progress on the path, the acceptance of second initiation or today's initiation is extremely valuable, especially if we have an inclination to share Krishna consciousness with others, not so much in the West, but in the world in general, and in doing various kinds of worship of the Lord. And Brahminical second initiation is considered a necessity practically. Not to go back to Godhead, but by doing various services to both help yourself and to facilitate others' path back to Godhead or to attain spiritual self-realization. So that's one thing. Now we'll just read a little bit in the purport how Jiva Goswami, he's another of our great acharyas, and he says here actually that Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. We may or may not know it, but we're all suffering or enjoying the results of our past activity. And most people, when they think of, they only think in terms of getting free of their sinful reactions. They may go to church and pray, please forgive me for my sins or something. But one is actually on the path of transcendental knowledge, wants to see the removal of all reactions caused by sinful activity, not just the ones caused. What does it mean by sinful activity? Actually, sinful activity is a very broad subject. It will be defined differently in different places at different times and circumstances. But basically, any activity in this material world, aside from, let's say, that activity which is pleasing to the Lord, can be under this category. It's called, there we have karma, akarma, vikarma, different kinds of act. Karma usually means activity, but in its spirit, in the let's say, religious sense, karma means activity, which is according to religious principles. Every other activity, even though it may look pious from a material perspective, is vikarma, which means sinful activity, because we're acting against the directive of the Supreme, or the religious directive. That really means the original religious directive, not man adjusted religion, the original root. So that is very rare. Almost everyone's engaged in vikarma, almost everybody, sinful activity. So to become free of that, second initiation or Brahman initiation was traditionally required, practically speaking. I mean, in Kali Yuga, just the chanting of the holy name is sufficient to achieve all purposes, but the chanting has to be pure. And most people are not very pure. They're getting great gain and benefit chanting or just hearing the chanting. But purity, second initiation, is also there to help us to develop pure qualities, cleanliness especially, very important for those who are Brahminical. Cleanliness, both of body, mind, and words. Truthfulness. Truthfulness doesn't just only mean speaking, materially speaking, the facts as they are, and not hiding things, but it means speaking the truth. Truth is not just relative. Real truth is absolute. It means speaking spiritual truth, even if it doesn't always complement the material situation or the way people see it materially. One must somehow or other speak spiritual truths. Austerity. For second initiation, austerity is an expected, say, thing. What does austerity mean? Well, in Kali Yuga, it's not so great. But at least it means refraining from certain activities which are detrimental to spiritual life, and certainly very karmic in their nature. Eating meat and illicit sex and gambling and intoxication are very binding, very intoxicating in their very nature, very reactionary, and very detrimental to pure devotional service. It takes time, of course, to expect to go from one situation of acceptance to a higher one. But on the process of chanting Hare Krishna, if we're actually chanting with our heart, more with our attention, etc., then the natural inclinations for these other activities will naturally decline and be vanquished, as this verse says today. So then, certain things, and maybe Prabhupada even said for second initiation, rising early in the morning, performing various sadhanas, practices, in those early hours of hearing and chanting and song. All this is expected, particularly of those who are responsible, taking the responsibility for second or Brahminical initiation. Why? The Brahmin is supposed to be a teacher of society, supposed to be like a guru in society, practically speaking. So they show by example so that others may follow. The Brahmin is considered the head of society. May not be working, maybe. May not be working what we call work, but definitely by actions, by behavior, by their words, etc. Setting an example for others to follow. And as most people are in materialistic situations, of course, that is a very important example to set for those around us. Qualities of behavior, etc. For those whose occupation happens to be wholly and solely the normal occupations of a Brahminical person, worshipping, preaching, and so on like that. Of course, there again, you can't expect people to imitate or to be able to even follow that. But by their presence and by their activity, they are uplifting society, purifying those around them by their pure chanting, their pure behavior, and encouraging everyone else in society, no matter who they are, to make steps towards the ultimate goal of life, Krishna consciousness. So they have a great responsibility to uplift. Just like in our body, the Brahmins are considered like the head of society. You can't get very far without a head. You may be able to survive without legs and arms. And even some of the organs within the body, you can't really survive without a trunk either. That has most of the organs in the body. But especially the head gives directions to the body. It gives directions to the whole body. And if the head is not in order, he's off his rocker, sometimes they say, and everything goes chaotic. You can't, maybe you're drunk or something, nothing acts normally or rationally. And the body becomes out of control, or it dies, or whatever it is, or behaves crazily. The head is very important in guiding the rest of society or the rest of the body. So having a Brahminical head, Prabhupada, one of his main, challenges also, but one of his intentions was to create a head on society, spiritual head. We're not talking of executive heads, kings and so on. We're talking of spiritual heads here. A spiritual head, some of his followers who would be focused, tuned in, and help others to tune in to their spiritual roots, to the ultimate goal of life. If the head is also very busy trying to enjoy the activities of the feet and the arms and the belly and so on, then the head will not get very far. The body will not get very far. The head has to be spiritually awake, spiritually tuned in, so to speak. So Brahminical initiation and the life of Brahminical life is, it's not that you automatically become like that, but it is the responsibility to become a leader, spiritual leader in society, to guide others in society. People in India, at least, used to look up to those who were Brahmanas, especially those who were occupation was a Brahmana, still do in many cases, because they have something which is so important in life, the most important thing of all. They have this gift, this spiritual wealth, you could say. It's not to say they do just because they have a thread and they've taken initiation, but they're supposed to have. And that's not the end of it either. That's just another stage. Ultimately, they have to be pure devotees of Krishna, Vaishnavas. Vaishnava is above even these designations, pure Vaishnava, above these designations. Although they may be Brahminically initiated or not, Vaishnava is above. So the most important thing in our life is to cultivate the mood of a servant of a Vaishnava. To become a humble servant, a Brahmana. Most dangerous thing for a Brahmana is pride. We get proud. It's very easy to get proud. Don't take much to get proud in any walk of life. But for a Brahmana, pride is the biggest cause of fall. Of course, they may also take advantage of their facilities. As we see in the world today, so many personalities in the spiritual or religious order of life, even for a small error, sometimes they become dragged down. But it's, people expect an awful lot, which is in one sense not wrong. In another sense, it's Kali Yuga. But it's expected that those who are in the spiritual head make proper spiritual guidance and don't behave like an ordinary person. Having illicit connections, misbehaving, indulging in mundane activity and so on. Otherwise, where will you go? If the head is absorbing these things, we're also going to be absorbed. So this is very important. So the Brahminical head is to help guide society by their peaceful, neutral, whatever it is, sober approach to situations which they're in or which are around us, so to speak. Not becoming, political or this or that. Difficult age, Kali Yuga, is very hard, very difficult. You can't rubber stamp. You can't, just impose things. This has to be understood and developed. It takes time to develop qualities which are uplifting, which are pleasing to Krishna, which are purifying and so on. It takes time. Okay, well, we just mentioned a few more things. Well, Prabhupada did give emphasize that unless one is actually, I'll just read one quote of Srila Prabhupada. This is in 1974 in a letter. Prabhupada says initiation should be given as a future hope. Now he's talking about first initiation, the Harinam initiation. We should be careful about the second initiation. As recommended by the president, or we have GBCU, like the managerial authorities in different areas of the world, they should only do so when they are quite confident of a man. Otherwise, he should not be recommended. If you follow this principle, it will be successful. Every day I'm getting requests for second initiation, but I do not know. The responsibility goes to the presidents who pick them. Unless they are thoroughly convinced, second initiation should not be given. In the beginning, we may be a little lenient, that means first initiation. But if someone falls down after being initiated, he should not be credited with second initiation. In the beginning, Prabhupada was more lenient, you could say, but as time went on, he became a little bit more serious about this, because one, it's not required, two, is not good. If one takes the second initiation and isn't following or can't follow, doesn't want to follow, or whatever it may be. So it's quite a responsibility itself, personal responsibility as well as to society. The way we behave, yad yada charity, shreshtas tatatevita, Krishna said. Whatever a great man does, common men follow. Whatever standards they set by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So, showing by example, Brahminical life. So please, those devotees who are sitting here today and those who've already accepted this responsibility, and we're not perfect, we do make mistakes, but try to work towards this taking responsibility, trying to show others by example, the responsibilities, the characteristics are there in the Bhagavad Gita. You just have to read them. The 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. How one has to be very tolerant, and merciful, and clean, and austere, and so on. Cleanliness for a Brahmin means bathing regularly, washing one's hands after eating as well as before. And when you go to the bathroom, washing nicely. If you go to what we call, I'm going number 2 in the West, and stool in India, and I don't know what they call it elsewhere. Different words which we won't repeat in this assembly, but different words are there to address the more solid form of passing, or excretia, a more polite way maybe. You can't always do it, but as much as possible, taking baths. And sometimes you're at work and you can't do it, or you're out somewhere, but as much as possible, bathing, keeping clothes clean, keeping house clean, keeping mind clean, keeping words clean, body and surroundings, keep them clean. Much as you can, it will facilitate our spiritual advancement. It will steer, you could say, and it will also inspire or impress others how clean one is, and how peaceful and so on, and knowledgeable. We should study the Shastras, those who are Brahmanically initiated, much as possible. Not everyone's a scholar, but as much as possible, we should hear and chant the Vedic literatures which give guidance. The Brahmin has to give guidance to others, which give guidance in human form of life. And in this way, try to take a little responsibility in one's life, to be a leader or spiritual leader in society. Well, let's see what the time is. It's 12:20. It's 12:20. And you have 11:20. You're in a different time zone than we are, for some reason. It's 12:20 here. So we'll move on, I think. Maybe we'll talk a little bit now, as we mentioned earlier. We'll talk a little bit about what you mentioned, Chaitanya Balaprabhu mentioned earlier, about having some sets of books there. So when we talk about sharing, Brahmins are meant to teach. One of the practical activities of a Brahmin is teaching, studying, but they have to also share what they study. They're meant to receive. It's a little different when you're in the society of today, no doubt. But traditionally, the Brahmanas, they receive charity, but they don't keep it. They don't open up a big bank account so they can go for a holiday in Tenerife or Hawaii or something, or build a big house down there in York or something like that, you know. But he's a working man, he's a responsible man in society, and he has children and families. So it's different when you're working, you have to do the needful. Goridas coming from a very wonderful family, and his good wife Durga Devi also from wonderful background. So it's a different situation we're in today. And in traditional, I was talking traditionally, Brahmins would not get a wage, they would not have to work like that. They would be happily maintained by people in general who would give them, accordingly, they would give them charity. But the Brahmin would only keep what they need, not more. Everything else would be used for the welfare of others. They would distribute prasadam or, you know, whatever it is. They wouldn't use it for any other reason other than glorifying Krishna for the benefit of all others. And they would worship. They do various kinds of sacrifices as today, having Chaitanya Balaprabhu were doing, and sometimes worshiping on the altar. They have their own temple in their own home, and they teach others how to do deity worship. Now, it doesn't mean, sometimes we get that a little too literally. I'll give an example. When Prabhupada was in London in 1975, I think it was, he came in the temple, and one guest was there. She later became initiated also, but she was just a guest at that time, and offered their obeisances with their feet towards the deities. And Prabhupada called the Pujari. He said nothing to the guests. He called the Pujari and said, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be teaching those who come to the temple how to worship the deity properly and offer their obeisances properly." So it goes down to every level. It's not that, you know, worshiping the deity is on the altar. It means how to help people to become closer to Krishna, more respectful in their relationship with God, etc. And you can't, you know, first thing is to find out where a person is situated. Second thing, what medicine or what level, what guidance can we give to help them to move forward? You can't give the same thing to everybody, except for the chanting. Other things maybe takes a Brahminical head, one with a little bit of let's say, purity to perceive of that. It's an art of preaching, how to encourage. Like you have children, or many of you have got kids. Rinda's had kids, Goridas has had kids, Keshavananda. You have any kids yet? Not yet. Maybe you'll have them, but many of you there have had children. Prema and Vishnu Priya have kids. Satyamed has got kids. Where's Ramai?
He's working today.
Oh. Anyway, he's there in my heart. He's with us today. So most of you have probably had children, and you know what it's like. You have to do little Haridas. You can't start getting angry with him because he doesn't know how to do something which you do. Well, Haridas, you know, why are you not, you know, you don't. You know that that's the level he's on. He's doing well, and you encourage him to do better, that's all. He's on a certain level of maturity physically, and obviously he can't do certain things like go to the toilet on his own. Perhaps he can't, perhaps he can, but at certain stages they can't. You can't expect him, you know, to keep everything clean at this stage of his life. Many things he can't be expected. You encourage him on the level where he can do what he can do. So people in society is like that. What you can do, not what you can't do. But they get very upset and frustrated. You don't get anywhere. It's a waste of time. You have to encourage people in what they can do, not what they can't. But it's important to find out where people are situated before we can expect to give them something to improve what they're doing or to spiritualize what they're doing. A Brahminical person, that's one of their responsibilities, to engage people like that. As we said earlier, we're not perfect, and we ourselves are still practitioners and trying to mature or go forward in the service to society, service to mankind, service to the world, service to Krishna. Okay, so this month is Live to Give month. Is that right, Chaitanya? Live to give. We're here to give. What have we got to give? We don't really have anything to give in one sense. That's another aspect of a Brahmin. He realizes nothing is mine. Everything belongs to God. Brahminical person does not lament. He's not like, oh, I've lost my this. I remember the other day, we were on the Sankirtan in Paris. we have a girls' party. Believe it or not, I've had to basically manage it because there's no one else doing it. But they're so good on distributing books, some of them. And one of the girls, she was like quite jolly for various reasons, and then suddenly she looked and she couldn't find her mobile phone. Oh no, someone's stolen my mobile. Ah, it was like almost like she was about to die or something. It was like, you were like finished, everything. It was like, she was so sad. Oh, my day is ruined. It's like, and then somehow or another, she looked in another bag and there was the mobile. Oh, yeah. We're so affected by these things of this world, loss and gain. It's such a overwhelming kind of emotion that we're definitely going to be affected by it. But we certainly can't be dependent. So a Brahmin, although they look after things nicely and they don't lose things by purpose, that's for sure. But not on their own account, on behalf of Krishna. They see everything belongs to Krishna. As Prabhupada said in the beginning, when Brahmananda lost 5,000 euros, $5,000, he said, "Oh, Prabhupada, it must be Krishna's mercy." Prabhupada said, "It's not Krishna's mercy, it's your damn foolishness. It's your fault that the money was lost." So we take responsibility because it's not our money, it's Krishna's money, it's Krishna's mobile, it's Krishna's body, it's Krishna's, everything belongs to God. So we try to look after the Brahmin. Thinks like that. Maybe not always act like that, but should be. But at least we should try to cultivate this remembrance. So one of the best way to for a Brahmin to preach, especially in Kali Yuga, chanting the holy names, arranging facilities for others to come and chant, and to disseminate these transcendental literatures to everyone we meet, wherever we can. Even if you gift an item, many devotees do that. They gift an item to a friend at Christmas, or a relative, or somebody or another. And it's a great opportunity. I think Christmas is coming in a couple of weeks. They still have Christmas in England. Still there. They still give gifts and things like that.
Yeah.
Still goes on. Yeah, it's a little bit still there in society. It's because there's another subject, I won't get into it, but the principle is there for most people. That's what they do. And some kind of time of goodwill supposed to be. So it's a great opportunity for all of you today. There's a small crowd of us together today, but you're a good crowd, you're a wonderful crowd. And it's a good opportunity. I don't know, Chaitanya Bala, but what have you got in your gift packs?
So there's a Bhagavad Gita, Ishopanishad, Beyond Birth and Death, Easy Journey to Other Planets, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, In Essence, and A Higher Taste.
Well, that's a big.
And all of that, and all of that for £21.
Phew, £21. That's like a bargain.
Yeah.
And you can go to other planets. You don't need to spend billions and billions of dollars. Easy journey to other planets. It doesn't cost anything, not even £1. Wow, that's pretty far out. Well, please do. I mean, if you want to be a part of this great, we had a previous discussion we had just before this time was regarding looking at the change in our life, the world around us. But really speaking, the best and the most effective way we could be a part of that change is to pass on this knowledge, and especially in the form of the written book is the best way to do that. Because if these books are nothing more, nothing less than the words of Krishna. It's Krishna speaking through his pure devotees, both the goal as well as the means to attain the goal. In these two literatures, Krishna Paramatma. And we ourselves need them too to guide us in our lives, very much so. We're also facing many trials and tribulations in our lives, everyone in this world. So the guidebooks for mankind, you could say spiritual guidebooks. When we're lost in a jungle, we need some guidance. So people are all over the world looking for direction. They don't know what to do in many cases. They vote someone into power and a week later they get rid of them. Isn't that what happened in England just recently? They voted in a prime minister and a few weeks later they pulled him out. And the same people who voted a few weeks later were demanding they should be removed. That means they don't know what they're doing. Simple as that. They have no idea what they're doing. They're simply speculating. People don't know what to do. They want something, but they don't know where and how to get it. So these books are giving guidance to people. Please be merciful. And we need guidance, no doubt. So we also, charity begins at home, but you can also share that charity. This is the highest charity, highest welfare work to distribute transcendental knowledge. Feeding people is important. Opening hospitals, schools must go on, obviously, but it's not the goal of life. It's not on the same, let's say, solution. It's only a temporary solution. Temporary solutions are required, obviously, but permanent solutions solve all problems. So these books and this knowledge is giving us permanent solutions to all of our problems. So please do take advantage of this. It's a special day tomorrow, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's Tirobhav. Is it the same over there tomorrow or today? Tomorrow, okay. So it's a great opportunity. He was the Acharya, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, and he made it very, very clear that this is the most important thing, is to distribute books. When I was in Africa, I was preaching in Africa in the 70s, in East Africa, and I was helping to organize some printing of Swahili literature. I remember going to the printer. The printer was a Scotsman, actually. He wasn't the printer. He was in charge of the printing press. He was the manager, general manager, Scotsman in Nairobi, and he said he was just so much into printing. He was really happy with us. I mean, he liked what we were doing, actually. And he said it's like he would put various things like what was that famous person who established the communists? What was his name? I think he was from Europe. What was his name originally? Well, some of you must know. What was his name now? God, forgotten it. Marx? Karl Marx?
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx, okay. So he said, he had a saying. He said, I will conquer the world with 26 metal soldiers. For those who don't know, in those days, printing was done by what's called letterpress. Now it's all done by, offset printing and this and that. But it was letterpress. Each word had a little letter A, B, C, D like this. You had to put them all onto a block, and the block would go round and round, boom, ba-dum, 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 stamping on the paper, and there were so many mistakes. Called letterpress. But it's the little letters, the letters of the alphabet, 26, they're made of metal, and they would pick up the ink on one side and bang it on the paper on the other. So he said, I will conquer, this philosophy, will conquer the world with 26 metal soldiers. So it's a very powerful way of disseminating a message. So please take this advantage and be a part of this great, let's say, upliftment project, to try to live to give others transcendental knowledge. So later on, Chaitanya Ballabha, I presume, and Gauridas Prabhu, Keshavananda has already received his mantras. You're already chanting, right? Keshavananda? Yeah, so later on, I'm going to request Chaitanya Ballabha or whoever is appointed there, and Gauridas Pandit in private, maybe in a few hours' time. Couple of hours, or what do you think? To come aside and I'll give the mantras privately and you can show him how to chant.
Yep. Sure.
You have to tell me. You can send me a text message when you're free, or whoever it is who's supposed to do that.
That's
Please.
fine. Yes. I'll contact you privately.
Yeah, just send a text message.
Sure.
So we'd like to thank you all very much for assembling today at this auspicious occasion. Please give your blessings to Gauridas Pandit Prabhu and Keshavananda Prabhu and their family members who are here today. We'd like to thank you for joining us, and friends, and please give your blessings and in front of Sri Sri Panchatattva and the devotees. I pray that this will help you in your spiritual lives, help you to develop genuine internal qualities of a Brahminical personality, but more and above that, of a Vaishnava, find out what the characteristics of both Vaishnava and of Brahman are. Try to live them in our lives as much as you can. And don't ignore your responsibilities to your families, to whatever you have in life to do, also your society, duties, etc. They must go on also, but with the consciousness, the inner consciousness, Krishna consciousness within. And thank you all so much. Haribol Durga Devi, Hare Krishna.
Thanks for joining us, Maharaj, and giving us your time and association this morning and sacrificing time when you could be on the street.
Yeah, well, I wasn't planning to go out. I've been going out so much the last few days. So I was taking a little break this morning for a few hours. In any case, there's no one on the street over here this morning. Streets are empty. I don't know why, but it seemed like everyone was up real late last night. There was a hell of a lot of noise in the streets during the night here in Paris. It was a very noisy night. I think it's something to do with football. But yesterday when we were on the Sankirtan, there was one, well, we had no choice because there were hundreds of thousands of Moroccans going crazy in the city of Paris. The whole city was just full of people with Moroccan flags and swinging and dancing and jumping like mad. Anyway, that's material life. Hare Krishna, or glories to Srila Prabhupada. We have to save people from this. This is their only hope. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hi.
Premanandi. So I've got some grains ready. Shall I throw them at the screen? Or...
Yeah, you can throw them through the screen.
Through the screen. Well, will you forgive me if I'm not present during the yajna? Is it possible or not? I don't mind staying. I can if you want.
You don't need to stay. If you need to go now, that's fine. We can take care of things here. That's okay.
Okay. Is that okay, Gauridas?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
We'll see you soon, huh? Okay, Shivananda, congratulations, Prabhu. And thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Govinda. Please send my love to your husband and your family members. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo. Hare Krishna. Hare Bo Prema. Hare Bo Vishnu. Krishna Priya. Hare Krishna, everybody else. I don't know if Satya ever came.
Yeah.
Oh, there he
Yeah,
is. Anutama. Hare Krishna. Hare Bo Prema. All glories to all of you. I know you're all trying to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Please try to work together and live and forgive and give. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Gora Premanandi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can put the grains on. You've already had yours on? Or... Yeah, you have some.
I have. Yeah.
In a minute,
No?
I'll have someone maybe.
Okay, so in my bag, Vijay, can you get that bag? Okay.
Well, that's fine. I wasn't sure what was like. Well, if you like it, you take this one, but these are extra long, I've got extra long ones. You know, we could have asked that. So if you like, well, that's enough. That's enough. That's Are we still on the Zoom? Oh, okay. Well, thank you for those of you who are still on Zoom and are tuning in. It's really nice to have you with us. So yeah, please give your blessings to the devotees, Gauridas Pandit Prabhu and Keshavananda Prabhu, so that they can continue to make nice advancement in Krishna consciousness. And please give us your blessings from wherever you are, so that you know, we can all serve nicely here in ISKCON Newcastle too. So we'll do Archman to start with. So if you can take the spoon in your right hand and put 3 drops on your right hand. Like this. Yeah. And then take 3 drops and then put it in your left hand. Then you can hold the spoon in your left hand. Actually, before that, we'll chant a little mantra. So you can recite after me. Everyone else can join in as well. Om Apavitra Pavitrova Savavastam Gatopiva Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabaya Yantara Suchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. So of course we chant this mantra for purification. So this is the translation: unpurified or purified, or even having passed through all situations, one who remembers the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead is cleansed within and without. So we understand that these are the 2 most important things in Krishna consciousness. We always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And that all the rules and regulations are the servant of these 2 principles. And when we remember Krishna, then we become purified within and without. So if you can take the Archman cup and the spoon in your left hand and put some drops in your right hands, and you can chant. We'll chant the mantra and then we'll sit from here. So Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Keshavaya Namaha. And again. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. So if we do have some new neck beads for Gauridas, Prabhu, then yeah, would someone like to come and put them on, Gauridas? And in a minute, we would like, well, let's put these, but we're going to have, we'd like to have some kirtan in a minute while I'm lighting the fire. So do we have someone who can lead some kirtan? Do you want to lead some kirtan, Shresh? We have some kartal playing and drums and...
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Jale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami
Take the old ones off.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravaśkashayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Hare Krishna. So while you were chanting, we were chanting some different mantras to invoke Lord Vishnu in the form of the fire. So now Lord Vishnu's appeared. So we're going to be making some offerings to Lord Vishnu in this way. So we're going to be going through the Mangala Charan. Many of you will know it, but if not, we'll break each part up. But it would be nice if everyone joins in as far as possible. The more the merrier. And especially you can join in with Swaha. Let's try that again. Swaha. And so for Gauridas Pandit Prabhu and Keshavananda Prabhu, you will take the grains with these two fingers and your thumb, like that. And every time after each particular prayer or mantra, we will chant Swaha 3 times. So after each Swaha, you can throw some grains in the fire like that. Okay. And if everyone can join in as well. Om Agana Timirandasya Janananda Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya, Mano Vishtam, Snapitam, Yena Putale, Swayam Rupa, Damayam, Dadati, Swapadantikam, Swaha, Swaha, Vandeham, Sri Guru, Sri Yuta, Adakamalam, Sri Gurum, Vaishnavam Cha, Sri Rupam, Sagrajatam, Sahagana, Raghunatham Vitam, Tam Sajivam, Sadvaitam, Savadutam, Harijana, Sahitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha, Krishna Padam, Sahagana, Lalita, Shri Vishankam Vatamscha, Swaha, 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 Nama, Om, Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasaya, Bhutale, Shimate, Bhaktivedanta, Swamin, Iti Namine, Namaste, Saraswati Deve, Gauravani, Acharine, Nirvishesha, Sunyavadi, Aschacha, Deshatarine, Swaha, 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 Nama, Om, Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya, Bhutale, Shimate, Bhakti Siddhanta, Saraswati, Iti Namine, Sri Vashabhanavi, Devi, Gayataya, Tripabdaye, Krishna Sambandha, Vijnane, Dayane, Prabhave Namaha, Madhuryo Jwala, Premadya, Sri Rupanuga, Bhaktida, Sri Goda, Karuna Shakti, Vigrahaya, Namostute, Namaste, Gaudavani, Shimutaye, Dinatarine, Rupanuga, Garuda, Apasidanta, Swantaharine, Swaha, 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 Namo, Koda Kishodaya, Sakshat, Vairagyamutaye, Vipralamba, Sambode, Padambuta, Bhujaya Te Namaha Swaha 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 Namaha Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Goda Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Alayate Swaha 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 Goda Vibhava Umeswan Nideshta Satchana Priya Vaishnava Savabhoma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Swaha 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 Vanchakalpa Rubyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Atitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnave Yo Namo Namaha Swaha 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 Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Hridayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Kore Twise Namaha Swaha Swaha Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindha, Dinabandha, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Mostute, Swaha, 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 Jayatam, Surato, Ango, Mamamande, Atekati, Matsabasva, Padamboja, Radha, Madan Mohana, Swaha, 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 Divyat, Vrindaranya, Kalpatromata, Srimad, Ratnagara, Simasanasto, Srimad Radha, Srila, Govinda Deva, Krishnalipi, Devyamano, Smarani, Swaha, 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 Shema, Rasa Rambi, Lam Shivata, Tatasita, Kasam, Veno Swanel, Gopir, Gopinata, Sriye, Duna, Swaha, Swaha, Swaha,
The Kanchana, Gorangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanu, Sute Devi, Pranamami, Hari Priye, Swaha, 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 Shri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Swaha, 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 Om, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. So, there's some prayers. We'll chant just forgiveness for any mistakes made on our behalf, either while performing the ceremony or chanting the mantras. So, if you can repeat after me. Pratigya, Bhava Govinda, Name, Bhakta, Pranasyati, Iti, Samsmritcha, Pranam, Pranantam, Dharam Yaham. So we even committed some mistakes while chanting the mantra to free us from committing mistakes. Of course, everything should be accompanied by the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in this age, which frees us from all offenses. Okay, so now we can stand up. And in a moment, we're going to ask you to pour the rest of your grains in the fire and also place your banana in the fire. Everyone can also stand up for this, because in a minute we'll also circumambulate the fire. And we'll chant this mantra 3 times for Lord Sri Krishna. Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya Yo Brahmana Paya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Devaya Go Brahmana Nitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namah Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Nitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya. So, in a minute, we're going to pour some ghee. We're going to chant Swaha, and then you can put your banana in the fire with your hands, your palms like this. Place your banana in the fire after chanting Swaha. And then you can put the rest of your grain. Okay, Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Amyo Shanti, Antariksham Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Apaha Shanti, Vayu Shanti, Tejaha Shanti, Asadaya Shanti, Lokaha Shanti, Brahmana Shanti, Vaishnav Shanti, Shanti Astu, Triti Astu, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So I'd like to ask someone to lead the prayer now. And then we'll circumambulate the fire, everyone can circumambulate the fire, we'll chant and dance. A lot of lives in Kirtan. If we need to open any more windows.
Hare